What's up, man?
Hey, finally got together again.
Yeah, bro. I've been so busy since just prep is just just gets a little more serious. Just posing more, a little longer at the gym. Got a half hour cardio always to do, and and then you know how it is. You got your family and life, and you gotta fucking work. You gotta do laundry. You gotta do dishes, food prep, take care of your kid, get enough sleep. You know.
Kids still, kids still kicking butt in the team still kicking butt in soccer.
They lost their last game. Uh, it was like 5-8, and
So they
I
didn't have to. They didn't have to stop counting, I guess.
no, they didn't have to, but it was good to
Okay.
see for them to feel a loss. I think, and uh, the other team, like you could tell that they really worked on their passing and their teamwork, and that's ultimately what got them near the goal and stayed near the goal most of the time. And we have like a few star players, but they weren't passing to each other as effectively or well. We got a lot of good players, but we saw where we could improve from the loss.
You try your best. You have a good time, and that's what it comes down to.
Hmm.
We just got finished with the gym.
Yeah, I just got home from the gym. Uh, Worked a little later today, and you know, got through my workout as quickly as I could, which I always try to do. So it was.
My le- my legs are finally back. I can do my leg workouts again.
So you got that coming up soon, right?
No, the leg workouts. I was. Remember I told you I couldn't because of the injury. 5 weeks. It's been 5 weeks. I
Right.
finally got a workout in,
Oh, you got it in. I
and
thought you had it planned, like you were feeling good for it, and you hadn't
well,
done it
well,
yet.
yeah. I took off another week and did I've been using a bike a little more often. I find that it's good rehabilitation for whatever was going on, and keep my fingers crossed. Uh, since we got a late start, there's a couple of things coming up. Came up. I want to talk about. Uh, Talked over and over again about this year's Olympia. It's going to be really exciting for a number of reasons. We got a couple more things to add to that. Are you familiar with? I'll try to give his actual name, then I'll give his social media name. Mikhail Krizovac. I think that's what it is. Michael KRIZO.
Oh yeah. I know about him.
Hey, well, he's a pro for the he was a pro for the IFBB Elite Pro. You know, Rafael Santoro when they had the break a few years ago.
Hey, you need to turn it down.
You remember when
Yeah.
they had that break a few years ago? Well, he was the big star. There's been talk about how would he do against these guys here. There's been a little social media back and forth between him and a few people. Well, he's made that switch, but he has to. He's going to be competing in the FBC and overseas first. Uh, he has to get his pro card in the NPC. Then he'll be the IFBB Pro League. He's going to be competing in Prague. Now, the interesting thing is, it's two shows. You have an amateur show and you got a pro show. The amateur show is a pro qualifier.
Yeah.
The pro show is an Olympia qualifier.
Yeah.
He can conceivably win the Prague amateur receive his pro card and immediately be invited to step on stage the following day and compete as a pro. What do you think about that? And what do you think about? I'm sure you've seen images of him. What do you think about this guy?
So he's like a lot of bodybuilders, every one of them actually. Even he looks amazing on Instagram. He looks amazing by himself. But I've seen him on stage, and he's don't get me wrong here. He looks great, but I don't think he's gonna make top 5 for the Olympia. If he does, then it'll be 5th place. But like, he's just not quite there yet. I don't think his physique doesn't really flow, I think, and he's freaky in some areas of his body, of course, but I think when you see him on stage next to the other guys, he's going to kind of fade away.
Well, not to knock the guys he's standing against in the with the Jasim competing against an elite pro, but if you want to be honest, straight to the fact, they're not on their top. The top competitors in elite pro are not on the same level as the top competitors in a pro league.
Yeah.
So he can blow these guys away and look awesome. And I'm not trying to disparage those other guys, but just facts are facts. They're not in the same level. So we're not seeing him standing against a top level competitor.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, with all that in mind, I think he'll do well, but he's not going to come in and win. That's for damn sure. And I still haven't really like for his shows that he's won. I feel like he could be like another 2% drier and crisper. And that, like you said earlier, his competitors around him weren't really that high of a caliber. So we'll see. You know, it'll be interesting. I'm happy to see some new blood get into the mix, and it'll push everybody. Probably it'll push him to get better. Maybe the Olympia will get more exciting the next couple of years. We'll get some more new guys up in there.
Well, yeah. I think the fact that it was one organization that separated, so there's naturally going to be a comparison. The back and forth that was going on while he was still competing in the elite pro, then the speculation of what would their best do, how would their best do against our best, now having it come fruition, it brings another level of excitement to the division and potentially the Olympia if this scenario does play out, and it's very possible he can very possibly win this. We've seen in other competitions where there's an amateur and a pro show, and a person wins the pro card and they step into the pro show immediately, which was part of the same event. And it's very conceivable that could happen, and he can earn his ticket to the Olympia the same day, well, not the same day, the next day after he turns pro.
Yeah, it's possible. That would be amazing if he did. You know, as we were talking about it in my Olympia, you know, lineup, top guys is kind of changing right now in my head. But, you know, Ramy's going to show up. It looks like he's bringing it so far from what I've seen. So he's going to be obviously in the top 3. I think, of course, Nick Walker is going to be the one giving him the run for his money. I think Derek Lunsford has a good chance at making the top 5. Hadi Chupin, hopefully his deltoids don't look too stupid, and he
has to fix them.
and hopefully he didn't add too much size to his waist like I think I've been seeing. So I hope that's not what I've been seeing. So Hadi Chupin, who knows if William Bonac comes and he brings it like his best ever, I think he can make top 5. I'm not a fan of his physique, but he looks pretty damn good. Rolly Winkler, he's always top 10, so he'll be
Do you
there.
think Willie Winkler is gonna be able to bring it back?
Yeah, I think he could, but I don't know what his obstacles are. I don't know
He's not
why.
a he's in his 40s, and it's generally easier. I think it's easier for the smaller guys to bring it back a little bit after a little time than it is for the bigger guys.
Yeah, yes, I agree. So I mean, it'd be cool to see him. I think Raleigh's always what I've seen is that he just doesn't bring the conditioning in his legs. Like he's got legs, but you never see the crisp, dry striations down there, and that's why he never makes top 3. Like if he would bring that, if he would bring some crispiness down there, I think the rest of his body would also flow better, and man, he would look great. But
He's he's really scary.
yeah,
I always said if you have a really, I mean, he is not the prettiest physique overall, but
no,
he's not as bad as a Marcus Rule. But he's not the prettiest physique overall. But with all that muscle that he carries all over the place, if he can just nail the conditioning, uh, every single person that he stands next to is in danger. But he has to bring the conditioning.
yeah.
Uh, so, do you think this KRIZO, as we get back to him quickly, don't go on. You think he can be a threat in this Olympia or a threat in the pro league in general?
I think one day, but he'll probably make top 10 at best. Thinking about his physique too, like I think his lats are the one thing that come to mind that he could bring up with the rest of his body. He's got some cannons on him, like his arms are just amazing.
Yeah,
I think he's got a small head to go with it, so it makes him look extra big.
like he needs definitely more for his size to match his size. I think his back definitely has to be wider.
Yeah, that's the
Uh,
weak point I see on him, and if your back isn't up to par with your arms and legs, he's got a good chest too, and his shoulders are gigantic. He's got bowling ball shoulders too, but then his lats and his rhomboids are just like,
he has detail. He does have detail in his back, but he's when it's, you notice it from the front, but you see it more from the back. The V taper or lack of V taper.
yeah,
But
like
there is some detail there though.
there's detail, but I just mean the proportions. Like his shoulders are
Yeah,
so big from behind, you just see his big ass shoulders, his big ass arms, and then his lats kind of like they're right under there. They're not like boom, like the rest of him, because his legs are like a gigantic silhouette. He's got a lot of leg sweep, a lot of leg girth. But that picking him apart, and a complete bodybuilder needs to have an amazing back piece. Back and legs first, and then the rest follows, I think.
yeah. I kind of pretty much agree. I think that it can definitely be in the top 10 right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
But how high in that top 10 is very questionable. We got some top talent out there coming up that is very dangerous. You mentioned the other thing I wanted to get into, and you mentioned it. You kind of like answered my question I was going to ask you, Derek Lunsford.
Yeah,
So you seem to be pretty confident that we're going to see, from what you said, that we'll see him on the open stage this year.
we will. And he's got the best proportions out of anyone on that stage in any weight class. He's got the tiniest waist, the most gigantic taper to his fucking lats. He's got a huge thigh sweep. His arms are great. There's not a single weak part on him. I can't remember how his calves look, but
It's pretty good. It's pretty rounded. It's pretty
I mean,
rounded.
he's got the best proportions. But I know bodybuilding these days is not about the best proportions anymore. It's like just like a freaky package of whatever.
How is he getting there? Is it through that special invite that he hasn't gotten yet, or is he going to jump into a show and win it? What do you think about that?
I don't know how he's going to get to the Olympia. As far the only thing I heard was that he's got the invite or something.
As far as I know, no, he doesn't have the invite, but it's the way it sounds that it's not gonna be an issue one way or another. We're gonna see him at the Olympia, and if it's not gonna be the 212, we will see him. So I think it's pretty much the invite is not absolute, not confirmed, but I think it's pretty much a shoe in.
So basically, what's happening is he's going up a weight class. He's a pro, but he's not doing an Olympia qualifier in his new weight class to compete in the Olympia in the new weight class. That's the way it's working right now, right?
Well, that's what it seems like. If you listen to Dan Solomon when he was being interviewed, it was like, well, he's pretty big now. We saw him around 260 at Pittsburgh, and he looked pretty much in shape. And that's a lot of weight to go down to 212. And we're worried about what might have to do to get to that. Is that going to be healthy? We want what's best for him. And if it comes down to it, do we want an Olympia? If he can make the weight limit, do we want an Olympia without Derek Lunsford? So to me, that pretty much sounds like he's ready to give him the invite if it comes down to it.
I see. Yeah, I mean, he's 260.
Yeah, he said the morning before we got on stage at the Pittsburgh Pro, he was 260.
He's 5
And you know what?
right?
No, I think he's a little tall. I think he's between 5'7" and 5'8". That's why I had one of the reasons why I had Sean Clarita over him last Olympia. I thought at the way he's developed at the weight for his height, I thought he actually looked lean. So I think he's between 5'7" and 5'8". But even still, 5'8",
That's gigantic.
260 pounds, 260 pounds in that condition,
Yeah.
that's still fucking big.
With that tiny ass waist too.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? I was watching a clip from very recent Bro Chat. It was just Fuad, Guy Sistanino, and Nick Walker, and I guess Nick Walker's been doing some training with Derek Lunsford. They've been training in the same gym. They've been training in the same gym, and when Nick Walker was asked at first, I got a little nervous, but then he got a little clearer later on. He said, "Well, he's not going to beat me." Flatter was asking about his potential, Derek Lunsford. Well, uh, maybe next year, but he's not going to beat me this year. And I'm thinking like that didn't quite sound like Nick. But then later on, he said, it's not like, he didn't say he said he could beat him, and then later on he said he won't beat. He's not gonna beat him. So I take it as could and will you are two different things. You could do, yeah, maybe under certain circumstances you could. Well, if I fuck up and I coming off, but he came back a little while afterwards, but he gave a lot of credit to Derek Lunsford, and he said that he sees what he looks like now, and he's like, no way, he's making the weight. There's no way.
I think Nick Walker, credit to him. You know, like you said, he's a really straightforward person, and he strikes me as a humble person too. He's definitely not full of himself. So of
He's
course he would.
confident.
Yeah. So he's paying respect to Derek and his progress, and he said, of course it's possible. Anything's possible. He could beat him. And but then I think he probably backpedals like, no, I need to give a champion response. Of course he's not going to beat me. And that's like what every bodybuilder should say.
That's pretty much what it was. Fumad was. He looked a little surprised hearing that, and I was watching a clip not from the actual podcast. I was watching Nick Trigili's channel, and he was going over what was said. He was doing it on Derek Lunsford, so I was getting his perspective on it when I was watching it. But that's what he saw it differently. The way I saw it was like you. Yeah, he was giving him his due respect. But you know what? Come showtime, no, he's not going to beat me. Yeah, it's possible. Anything is possible, but it's not going to happen.
Right.
And that's the way I took it.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of an answer I would give in any situation. It's like, it's probably the same answer I would give if I was in his shoes. I'd be like, well, sure, maybe. We'll see.
Now, how dangerous? How dangerous? If he's 260, looking the way he looked guest posing, and he has a lot of time going into this Olympia, how dangerous is this guy?
So the problem that he's always had was not bringing it crisp and dry. I think maybe once or twice he brought it pretty good, but that's why, Sean Clarito is beating him, because he's out conditioned, So I don't know. Hopefully Derek, he gained a lot of size, but he needs to also bring a more diced, drier package than he's ever brought. And okay, so you're in the 260s right now. Don't worry about being big anymore. Just worry about bringing it in as tight as you can. Because if he brings it in tight, we're going to see all those little separations that we know are there in his legs, and his arms and everything. Like, I know there's a package that he can bring that we've never seen. Part of it is because he hasn't brought in the conditioning that I want to see. But now he's even bigger, so that's going to make things even more exciting.
Let me ask you this. Derek Lunsford steps on the open stage. Derek Lunsford nails the conditioning.
Yeah.
Can he win it? Can he be top 3?
I think for sure top 3. It's possible. I just don't know how he's going to look. He's so much bigger now. And I would love to see him take it, but him or Nick Walker, if they took the Olympia, I'd be thrilled. I'd be happy if Hadi took it, but Hadi, I don't know. He doesn't. I don't like the way his physique's looking. So.
Yeah, Derek, I done videos about him in the past, and one of the things that I critiqued about him was the conditioning, and I think the title of one of my videos was that Derek needs to bring it. Derek Lunsford needs to bring it. So it was a conditioning thing. But as far as a bodybuilder and his potential, I never knocked him. He has a great structure. He has brown, full muscle bellies. He's not missing any body parts.
No.
Uh, but I think he could. I mean, potentially, yeah. Under like we said before, under the right circumstances, uh, yeah, he could be a Mr. Olympia. Definitely could be a top three. But I think also someone like Nick Walker, also not the prettiest physique, but he has a tight waist, he has wide shoulders, so kind of like Jay Cutler, who's like not the greatest structure, but where he had the muscle, it negated what he was missing in structure. Someone like Nick Walker bringing in that size, that conditioning, and like it brings in a real freak factor. I think when it comes down to it, ultimately bodybuilding is a freak show. Any way you look at it, bodybuilding is a freak show. And the freak has reasonable structure, pretty good structure, and has that size and conditioning, and he has a career. He has a charisma on stage. He's confident, and it comes. And when he's on stage, that confidence comes through.
The only thing I would like to see out of Nick is him bringing his waist in somehow. But I think it's beyond him and his genetics and how big he is. I know you say he has a tight waist, but it might be tight like skin and fat wise and being dry. But he's got big blocky abs. I mean, they're gigantic. And
Well, also, I think his hip structure is probably a little on the wider side, also, which would
I mean,
gives you that look.
same with Ramy though. Ramy's got some wide ass fucking hips. But
Well,
he's
like
got wide shoulders to go with it. So
I used Jay Cutler as an example before. Jay Cutler was a little on the blocky side. He has a wide hip structure,
yeah.
but he had the tight, developed abs, and he had. Let me tell you something. I walked past this guy, walked behind him, passing him when he was backstage for guest posing one of my shows. I swear it took me 5 minutes to pass him. He was so fucking wide.
Yeah, I met Jay a few times too,
That
man. He was so
that width and the width and the sweep on his thighs,
yeah.
it took away that wide structure in the hips.
Right, absolutely. I think Jay, I still give it to Jay, like in his prime of how big he was, he still kept his waist in check the entire time. I mean, well, there was like maybe a few years where it was getting out of control and then he brought it back in. But like if you take Ronnie for example, his waist just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Same with Dorian Yates, bigger and bigger and bigger towards the end. But Jay, he kept it tight at his last Olympia was his best Olympia. He looked absolutely amazing. What a way to go out. His last win that he had.
Oh, you think his last win was the best?
Well, so there was that one year where he weighed like 270 something and he was carved up. He should have won, I think.
Well, I'd argue that's two. You're talking about 2001. Yeah, I think he was in the high 260s, maybe around 270. That was his heaviest, and he was conditioned. That's 2001. But 2009, when he made his comeback, and after he lost 2008 to Dexter Jackson, in 2009, when he reinvented himself, it was like a totally different. That's where we had that famous quad stomp picture.
And I think his muscle maturity really showed on that last show. Like 2001, he was big and like dry and just he looked outstanding. There's nothing bad you could say about that look at all. It was just a different look, and I like it. But I like his last win the most because you never saw the details in his quads like that. Like at the very top when he did the quad stomp, and his waist was just a little tighter than it had ever been. And those factors kind of made a difference in my eyes.
He was in 2001. We're coming into that. He really wasn't on the radar. I can't remember what his placing was the previous year, but it wasn't that. It wasn't. I think one of his placings was right at the very back, and then another one wasn't that great. And I don't think he was on anybody's radar. But in 2001, he stepped on stage. I think there was a show just before that he stepped on stage, and everybody was like, "Whoa,
Mm.
look at this guy!" And then on 2001, when he stepped on the Olympia stage, it wasn't a Jay Cutler that we saw the previous Olympia.
Like I've said before, those are some of the most exciting times for me in bodybuilding. And we had a little bit of social media and YouTube going on back then, and it was easy to stay up with what Ronnie and Jay were doing. And it just seemed like, man, every year, we get to watch them battle. And I don't know, it was always very motivating for me. It was something to look forward to. I loved watching those guys. And now it's getting exciting. It's getting exciting again, I guess. But
2004, 2005, 2006, they were the guest posers, the main guest posers at when I competed at the Bev Francis Atlantic States. They were they were there every year. They were the big rivalry going on, and they were there that's Steve and Bev Francis, Steve Weinberger and Bev Francis's show. So they were there every year. So I got to look at them every year in person.
yeah,
Pretty impressive.
yeah, I know. It's when you get to meet these guys in person, it's just a whole new level of 3D mass. Truly genetic, gifted people who put in the right work and dieting and everything together, and it makes this freak of nature of a person. And I love it. I think it's awesome. It's exciting to see. That's why I love bodybuilding, is because it's all about genetics, and we're all the same, but we all have different genetics. Every single person has a different physique. I mean, we've never once seen a replica of anyone's physique ever. You see someone who might be reminiscent of somebody some way, but you can't say you've seen an exact same muscle belly physique on somebody and then in someone else. So it's like the potential and the possibilities out there for like the future to come. We're just waiting for someone else to show up who's got these genetics that, are just God's gift, and they're there to put in the work. Another Ronnie Coleman or another Jay Cutler, please send us something.
You don't appreciate the size of some of these guys, even someone like Dexter Jackson. I remember one day I was standing outside. This is when it was held at the BMCC, Borough Manhattan Communities College, the Tribeca Performing Arts Center. So I'm standing close to the doors. We're waiting for them to start letting people in for the files. I see some guy strolling up, sleeveless shirt. It's on the shorter side, but it looks fucking huge. I'm like, fuck is this guy? And as I got closer, I realized it was Dexter Jackson.
Oh, wow.
Now, you see Dexter Jackson next to some of these guys on stage, it's a little deceiving. He might not appear that big, but you see him in person, I was like, I didn't recognize, I couldn't get a good look at the face. It was too far away. I didn't know who it was. I just seen a little shorter stature guy, that looked fucking huge. And as he got closer and closer, I'm like, who's that? And as he passed, I realized, oh shit, it's fucking Dexter Johnson. He's pretty fucking big.
Yeah. I could see, like, I've never met him in person, but I've seen him standing next to people in videos and stuff. And yeah, he's 5'6", and he's shutting down guys who are 270, 280,
Yeah, it's deceiving. Yeah, he looks small against some of these other guys that he's standing on stage against, but as far as comparing it to the average mortal man, the guy's pretty fucking big.
Yeah, he is. Well, on stage he's like 220, right?
No, I think no. In his early part of his career, he was competing. I think his last 5 or 6 years, maybe 7 years, he was competing in the 230. They all exaggerate a little bit. I think he was like between 230 and 235. He might have pushed it a little bit heavier, but I don't think so.
That's gigantic. I mean, that's like another 5'7". That's another 40 pounds on top of me, basically.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
People don't realize just how big some of these guys are.
Yeah.
So, are you in agreement with me about this Olympia being on many fronts being a very exciting Olympia?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I think there's a good chance the Olympia is going to change hands, the Olympia title. And if it does, that's going to be exciting. And, Ramy said it's his last year, so I get my wish. He'll go away. And hopefully we get some new guys.
So, even though you said you think that he's training, he's coming to try and win it for a third time, you still think that it's a very questionable outcome?
Yeah, I do. I don't know. I just see Nick Walker coming in, taking it. Derek Lunsford has the potential to surprise everybody. I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, I just see Nick taking it. I think this is Nick's year.
I'm like, there's something about him. I think it's there's just something brewing in the kitchen, and something is gonna happen.
Yeah.
You think Derek Lunsford could beat Hunter Labrada?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, Hunter Labrada has good structure.
Yeah,
He's
he
really
does.
a larger version of his father.
He does. I think he just lacks the muscle maturity and like the shapeliness, or perhaps it's because he just hasn't come in dry enough yet. I think he's one of those people who needs to come in extra lean and dry to get his legs to show up properly. I'm one of those people. My legs.
That's the last place you lose it.
Yes, because I was born with I have big, thick legs. I have thick genetics, and it's been hard to overcome that. But who were we just talking about?
We're talking about Hunter and
Hunter. So I think Hunter, like down the road, he'll be more of a threat, but he's just not there yet.
He definitely didn't beat Nick last year.
No way. He was nowhere near him.
Yeah,
I think his rear double bicep comes to mind where it's lackluster.
And that's one of Nick's best shots.
Yeah, he's got it down. I think Nick has a very similar stance to how Phil Heath did it.
Yeah, He has the thickness, the detail. He has those massive shoulders, arms, the way those tricep, the peak of the biceps, the way the size of the biceps, and the way those triceps just sweep.
Yeah.
It's it's just very, very, and he has a good lower body. He's solid downstairs. It's just very impressive top to bottom.
Yep. Yeah, I think Nick's probably bringing more size, more muscle maturity this year, and hopefully he brings a tight waist. And if he does all that, then I think he could take it from Ramy.
Yeah. I'm still up on the air of what's going to happen with him. I think that he's going to be on stage this year, but I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up doing a no show. So that's it. He calls it quits just before the show. I don't think I have a hunch he probably will be competing, but like I said, I would not be shocked by any means if it goes the other way.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Trying to cut this one a little short because we got a little late start. Got some things I got to take care of.
Yep. Yeah.
If
Life.
if you're watching this on Muscle Central, make sure you go to Chris's channel, Buffy the Iron Slayer, and check out all his great content. And make sure you subscribe over there. If you're watching this over there, come over to Muscle Central, check out all my content, and subscribe. Chris, you have any final words to close out the show?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the Olympia for once. I think it's getting a little more exciting again. And as far as updates on what I'm doing, I've got my show, got the Legion. I'm gonna be competing light heavyweight, and right now I'm holding it like I'm bouncing around between like 191.8 and like 193 or 4. And
Wait, let me interrupt you. You said you're competing as a light heavyweight, so
yeah,
you're not competing classic. Well, how's the amateur classic separated? What's going on here?
I guess I looked at the wrong thing. I thought I looked at the NPC site, and originally I thought 5'7", I could weigh 185, but I can only weigh 174 at my height.
Oh shit!
And there's no way in hell I'm gonna make that.
I know there's a difference between the pros. The pros have, I don't know how much of a difference is, but there is a higher weight cap for your height in the pros than there is in the amateurs.
It kind of sucks. I mean, I could probably make 185 if it was that, but I think since I can weigh up to 196 now, I'm just gonna worry about looking crisp and dry and no fat. So wherever my weight is, that's where it'll be.
I never said that you wouldn't do good in classic, but I did say that
Yeah.
to me you're more of a bodybuilder.
Yep. Yeah. You did say that.
Even if you're on a smaller, the light heavyweight is a tough division, but even if you're on the smaller side, I mean, if you really nail the conditioning, in those shows, conditioning is going to really carry you over big time. But I think you can come in closer to the weight cap and still have that kind of conditioning. How many weeks you got?
Got about 10 weeks now.
And what's your weight now?
Today I weighed 193 on the dot when I woke up, but then I just weighed myself at the gym, and I weighed the least I've ever weighed at the gym midday. So I think tomorrow I'm gonna wake up at 191 something, because I've noticed my body retains water after leg days and after rest days.
I think looking at you now, I think you'll be able to come in as high as around 195 with the conditioning, and the cutoff is like 197.5 anyway, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I think
So
you have enough time to come in with the size with might not be the very top of the weight class, but you're not going to be. You'll be past the halfway point.
yeah, and Sean Clarita could win a whole fucking show. So could I.
Yeah, conditioning,
Yeah, and that's what I'm focusing on.
conditioning.
I'm really bringing it. I mean, I get you can't see much over like videos or pictures on Instagram and stuff, but if you see me in person, like you can see, I'm just getting more veins and cuts and striations everywhere. Like I get people at work are just they keep saying stuff. They're like, man, you look like you're getting more cut all of a sudden, and like I am, but it's like right now, like this morning when I was after I took a shower, I could see my main like femoral arteries like coming from the inside of my hips, like
Okay.
down my legs, and like they're like the size of my thumbs, man. I never seen them before. I looked down, I was like, holy shit.
Hey,
So
you're gonna have you're not gonna have to worry about. You'll be able to carb up properly, and you're not gonna have to worry about going over the weight. You'll be fine.
yeah, it's actually a great scenario for me, and you called it earlier months ago. So hopefully uh, everything goes well for me. And I mean, I'm doing novice division, so a lot of novice guys don't know how to bring the conditioning at all. So if I brought just nothing but conditioning and I was whatever size, I could probably win it like that.
Would you consider jumping into the other division also in the open?
Oh fuck yeah, yeah. I'm gonna do the open. I'm gonna do my light heavy, and then I'm gonna
Well,
do
but the novice. In other words, do a light heavyweight, but you're not going to do it as a novice. And go into the. We used to refer to it that back in the day when I was competing. You either in a novice, was it light, middle, light, heavy, whatever, or you were in the open, bantam, light, middle, light, heavy, heavy. So it was the novice, and we refer to the other division as the open. You
yeah,
understand what I'm saying? So would you consider not just doing the novice, doing the open end of it?
sure, yeah, I would love to. My plan is to look better than anyone at that show.
Well, that's the attitude you're supposed to have when you go to a show.
Yeah, but I can feel it. Like I've improved so much since my last show 5 years ago, and gotten so much bigger, and working with
How
Jeff
old?
again.
How old are you?
36.
Right, man. You still got some. You still got some good years.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
how time flies, man.
you're telling me, bro? I freak out every day. I'm 36. I'm like, what?
Wait till you hit 59.
I,
Holy shit.
yeah.
You're gonna do good. Okay, listen, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll try and be a little more frequent. We both had some issues, such things we had to take care of, personal things,
Absolutely.
and we'll do the best we can. Chris, it's been fun talking.
Hell yeah, Mike. Likewise.
Everybody, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Turn on your notifications. You know when more videos go up. Okay, take care, everybody. Have a good night.
There, guys.
Okay, Chris.
You too, Mike.
All right, that went pretty good.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
cool podcast.
yeah. I want to try. I gotta be in a little later tomorrow, but I want to try and get all my cooking and preparation for done before I start my cardio. And like usual, I have to get my cardio done. But I'm happy to be back to normal. I can do my high intensity intervals. I can do my leg workouts. I can do my deadlifts,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
nothing hurts. It's
I'm
great.
happy for you, man. That's great.
But let me tell you something. That first leg workout, the first Thursday is my leg day. Man, Friday and Saturday, holy fucking shit!
That was
It was
sore.
like I haven't done a fucking leg workout in 5 years, not 5 weeks. It was tough.